There's something hauntingly beautiful and tragically painful about the way a fearful avoidant loves. At first glance, they might seem calm, composed, even untouchable. They laugh easily. They act strong. But behind that surface is a storm that never really quiets. The truth is, what a fearful avoidant struggles with the most isn't love. It's feeling safe in love. They can fall hard. They can feel passion, chemistry, and longing, but the moment they start to feel safe, something inside them begins to panic. Because for them, love has always been a double-edged sword. Love was the warmth and the wound, the comfort and the chaos, the person they wanted to run to and the person they had to run from. Most fearful avoidants grew up in homes where love and pain came from the same source, where affection one day turned into rejection the next, where they were seen, then criticized, held, then abandoned. So their nervous system learned something tragic. Closeness is dangerous. Connection equals pain. This belief didn't come from logic, it came from survival. Their body remembers what their mind tries to forget. And that's why when someone starts to love them deeply, their entire system goes on high alert. Their brain whispers, "You're getting too close. You'll get hurt again." So they pull away. They retreat. They sabotage the very thing they crave. Not because they want to, but because something deep within them screams that safety and love cannot exist together. Here's the most shocking part. Fearful avoidants don't just fear rejection, they fear acceptance too. Imagine someone looking at you and saying, "I love you exactly as you are." To most people that sounds comforting, but to a fearful avoidant it's terrifying. Because deep down, they don't believe it. They think, if you really knew me, if you saw the parts I hide, you'd leave. So instead of leaning in, they start pulling away. They test. They withdraw. They create distance before you can. It's not manipulation, it's protection. Their way of controlling a pain that once felt uncontrollable. But this protection comes at a cost. They live trapped between two fears. The fear of being too close and the fear of being too far. It's like standing in a doorway, too scared to step inside, too lonely to walk away. And in that doorway, they suffer silently. After pulling away, they don't feel relief. They feel guilt, regret, shame. They replay every word, every silence, every moment they ruined. They ask themselves, why did I do that again? They want to reach out, but the shame keeps them frozen. That's the part no one sees. Fearful avoidants don't just avoid others, they avoid themselves. They bury their needs so deep that even they can't find them anymore. And what's even more heartbreaking, fearful avoidants are incredibly sensitive. They feel everything. They notice shifts in tone, in energy, in silence. They sense when something's off before a word is even spoken. That's why love feels so overwhelming. When they connect, it's never casual. It's magnetic, intense, consuming. But because they've been hurt before, they start preparing for the loss before it even happens. It's like loving someone while already rehearsing the goodbye, and that constant anticipation of pain kills peace. Many fearful avoidants also lose themselves in love. They adapt, they shapeshift. They become what they think their partner wants, hoping this time they won't be abandoned. But in doing so, they forget who they are. So when the relationship ends, or when they push someone away, they're left hollow. They ask, who am I without this person? Who am I when I'm not trying to be loved? That's the quiet identity crisis that follows them. Their struggle isn't just with attachment, it's with themselves. And trust, that's another battle. They don't just struggle to trust others, they struggle to trust their own hearts. They question every feeling. Do I really love them, or am I just scared to be alone? Do I want closeness, or do I just want safety? Those doubts become a constant echo, keeping them trapped in their minds. And because they can't trust their own emotions, they find it hard to trust anyone else's. Even peace feels suspicious. They think, this can't last. And in time, that fear creates the very ending they were trying to avoid. But here's the truth no one tells them. They're not afraid of love. They're afraid of dependence. As children, needing someone meant getting hurt. So as adults, they tell themselves, I don't need anyone. But deep down, they do. They crave the kind of connection that feels safe enough to finally let go. That's the paradox that defines them. They want love, but they're terrified of losing control inside it. They long for safety, but they've never seen love and safety exist in the same room. But healing is possible. It begins not with chasing love, but with understanding fear. A fearful avoidant must realize their reactions aren't character flaws. They're survival patterns. Those walls once kept them safe, but now they're keeping love out. Healing starts in the pause, in that small moment before they withdraw, when they can ask, what part of me feels unsafe right now? That moment of awareness can change everything, because in that space, they stop reacting from trauma and start responding with choice. And then, slowly, with consistency, not perfection, they begin to rebuild safety, not through someone who never leaves, but through someone who always returns. Not through grand gestures, but through steady love. Each act of emotional stability whispers to their brain, maybe this time it's different. And that's when something shifts. That's when love stops feeling like a battlefield and starts to feel like home. Because the real struggle of a fearful avoidant isn't loving others, it's learning to love without losing themselves. When they finally understand that closeness doesn't mean disappearance, they stop running, they stop testing, they stop expecting pain. Love becomes quiet, safe, peaceful. And that's when their true self appears. Loyal, deeply emotional, incredibly intuitive, capable of profound love. So if you love a fearful avoidant, remember this. Their distance isn't rejection, it's fear. Their silence isn't indifference, it's protection. And if you are one, you're not broken. You were just taught to survive love instead of receive it. The real healing begins the day you realize love and pain were never meant to coexist. And when you finally believe that, you stop running. You stop fighting. And for the first time, you can rest. You can breathe. You can finally come home.